So I thought I would talk a little bit today about the Wi-Fi transfer function within Thumbjam. It's certainly something that I use all the time to import loops if I'm sitting and doing things at home and I get everything just how I like it on my iPad, and I know that I need to quickly go in and put all of those settings on another iPad. I don't need to sit down and do them all manually. I can just use the Wi-Fi transfer to pull it onto my laptop or even onto my phone, get those files available externally, and then I can Wi-Fi transfer them back into the next iPad so long as my iPad and my phone are on the same Wi-Fi network. So just going to look at how that works. So we've got our iPad screen, and we are looking down here in the prefs menu. It's a little bit awkward when I go to touch my iPad because in this bit here that you can't quite see, I've got another camera, so that's why it looks a bit strange. So prefs menu, and in just a moment my mirror will catch up with things and everything will be on the screen, or not. Right, let's cut into the other camera for the next wee minute then. And the next thing we're going to hit is Wi-Fi transfer. And we are looking to put enable server. So you can see this bit of information here. That is the information that is going to help us to make our transfer. So that information goes into a web page. So we'll go over to our web page, right, and you'll be able to see fairly swiftly that this is something I've got in the background already. So you just type all of those numbers in, the numbers that you can see. Sit up, so it's still not caught up. All these numbers that you can see over here, you type them into your web browser, and this will load up everything that is in the Thumbjam of that particular iPad. It's definitely worth turning that back off again whenever you are finished with it, because it does consume a bit of battery. So you can see on here you've got your user instruments, any loops that you've brought in. So we can actually see in here I've got this loop over Gartner, and if we cut back over to my iPad, you can actually see that that is the loop that I've got loaded in there at the moment. So if we continue on down, so up at this side is all the instruments that come in the iPad and anything else that you've added from downloads. So those are them. These are any instruments that you've actually created yourself on the iPad. So I've added a few samples over time, and that's where those live, and samples that you've actually uploaded. So I might come back to that. Oh, actually, maybe let's see if I can get me. No, I can't get me out of there. Right, I will scroll it down a little bit more so you can see better all the things that I've got here. So I might come to that in a bit, but when I realised that I started thinking about making this video, and I thought, oh goodness, it's so complex, I can't get to everything. So I was trying to think, I'll just do something and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is where you could upload new scales if you had a particularly complex scale that you'd like to bring in. Yeah, I am right in the way of it just now, but here, this is where you would import in a user preset. So the bit that I was talking about where I was saying that if you have something on your iPad that you want to bring in and just be able to use straight away, that's where you're going to import that. So I've decided to put myself up there for the time being so we can see this a little bit better. So what I'm going to do now is to upload a new instrument. So we can see up here, upload new instrument sample set, and you can see the description underneath that is a zip archive. I'm having a little bit of trouble showing my actual screen, so I'm going to go out to choose the file. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but you might do. So I have an archive available that I'm going to pick from. So that's where I keep some Thumbjam samples. So we're going to import the tubular bells into our iPad. So we can see now that it says that I have chosen my files. It's tubularbells.zip. So we are just going to go on to the upload. And it's going to refresh for us. Okay, so it's now gone away, and hopefully, as we scroll down all of these things here, we will now see that we have added on the tubular bells, which we didn't have before. So we'll now be able to go over and select those from the iPad up in the change instrument menu. It does come up as a pre-installed instrument. It doesn't come up in your user instruments where you would probably expect. So it's going to be down here under T, tubular bells. So we've now got a nice new instrument installed. So the process of adding anything else is really very similar. The main difference that we're going to come across is that, let me transfer back to the correct place. Yeah, the main difference that we'll come across is that when you want to take this sort of thing, you have to create the archive first. So if this was somewhere that you got some great presets and you wanted to take them home and use them on another iPad, we would have to go with this create archive button first before anything else will work. So we create an archive and the page will reload. It looks like absolutely nothing's happened. You think, okay, that didn't do anything. But when we go right the way back down to the same place, instead of saying create archive like it did before, we have now come up with, cursor's on the move again, we've now come up with a download button instead. So that's where we can download that in the usual fashion, and that's going to be a zip archive that you just pull it in exactly like I just did with the tubular bells. So what I will do is I will put the file for those tubular bells in with the link for the video, and if you fancy having a go and seeing if you can import the tubular bells into your iPad, if you are in isolation with your iPad, then you can give that a go. Thanks very much.